Welcome back to another video. I'm Jen. Today we're going to talk about how to get over phone anxiety. Now, this is something that I actually have a mild case of. It's gotten better over the years, but it's this fear, this anxiety when you get a phone call. And I know other people out there have this because I've heard people talk about it, and I just know it. It's not so much talking on the phone, but for me it's the anticipation of getting a phone call, or especially making a phone call. I get very tense, or I avoid in a lot of cases. So it's a very interesting fear that people have, this phone anxiety, right? Like, for example, me, face to face with somebody, I'm okay. But the phone, for some reason, even like a Zoom, I'm not as bad as like a phone call where I can't see the person, and I'm trying to figure that out. So today I'm going to take you through how you can work to resolve this, to get over this, to overcome it. The first thing is to identify the problem in the first place, right? So what is the problem? The problem is your phone anxiety. Like, you're scared to talk on the phone, or either try to pinpoint, are you scared of actually talking on the phone, or are you scared of answering the phone or making a phone call? Like in my case, it's more answering and making a phone call, not actually, once I'm on the phone, I'm okay. And maybe this stems back from, I don't know, I'm trying to think back where it stems, because when I was younger, I don't think I had this anxiety around it. Maybe it's from a job I got right out of college where I was doing cold calling to like media companies and stuff, and I hated it. I don't know. So it's kind of digging a little and seeing where this actually comes from, because it comes from somewhere, even if it's something when you were a kid. There's something in the subconscious, there's something in the brain that makes you fear this. And I use techniques like avoidance, or I purposely leave my phone on silent for all day, pretty much, because I don't like the phone. That's a trigger for me, is the phone ringing. Phone ringing is a trigger for me. I get like kind of anxious when it rings. So it's a very interesting thing. So, all right, identify the problem, right? What is the problem you're having? We did that. Triggers. What are your triggers? Like I just mentioned, one of my triggers is the phone actually ringing. So you have to identify what triggers you, what causes you to get anxious. Like, what is it about? Is it getting a phone call? Is it being, having the phone in your hand and actually dialing the number? Like, what are the triggers for you? And once you find out the triggers, related to the triggers, what they do, they create a problem thought, like, oh my God, the phone's ringing, problem feeling, anxiety, fear, embarrassment, whatever it is, and then the problem behavior. How do you behave after that? You avoid, right? Or you, pretty much. So, thoughts, feelings, physical response, behaviors. This is kind of like a loop where everything is so connected. So our thoughts and our feelings drive our actions and our behaviors and all that kind of thing. So to change it, the first step is to being aware in the first place. Being aware, number one, is to be aware of the problem thought, feeling, and behavior. This is the most important thing. You really need to dive deep and figure out what you're actually feeling. Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling embarrassment? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling like, what is it? What is that underlying fear when this happens? When you get a phone call, or when you're about to make a phone call, that sort of thing. If you don't identify these first, then it's going to be really hard to overcome any kind of fear, any kind of anxiety, because if you don't know what's going on, or if you don't peel the layers off the onion in the first place and get to the root of the problem, you can't treat the problem. So, solution, number one, awareness, right? Be aware of that. So, what you want to do after you're aware of the problem, thought, feeling, behavior, you want to ask yourself, okay, what would I rather think? What would I rather feel? And how would I rather behave? Okay? So, new thought. Let's say, okay, instead of the old thought, which is like, oh my God, the phone's ringing, holy shit. New thought, oh yay, a phone call, oh yay, cool. New feeling. Instead of feeling fearful or anxious or that you're gonna like pee your pants, a new feeling would be, I feel calm, I feel confident, right? And then the new behavior is to actually answer the freaking phone. Answer the phone instead of avoiding, instead of putting it on silent, instead of like denying the call, pressing that red button on the call. So this is so important. So first awareness, next identifying a new thought, new feeling, new behavior. What would you rather feel? What would you rather think? How would you rather behave? Now for the juicy part. Once you've done that, then you can start implementation. Now this can be easier said than done. So you basically have two choices here. You could either implement this stuff in a more aggressive way or a more passive way. The more passive way to implement is to work with your subconscious to change the underlying beliefs in the subconscious. So exploring the subconscious by things like meditation, visualization techniques. Hypnosis is awesome for any kind of thing like this. This is definitely a more passive way to do it, and it will take some time, because think about if you've held on to something since you were like 5 years old and you've always had this fear, then it's going to be hard to change that, because you've been in this repetitive cycle, this pattern for years and years and years. So it's not going to be like overnight trick. So give yourself time, work with it, work with your subconscious. Don't force it, don't resist it, work with it, okay? And the other option, number 2, is to go in a more aggressive manner. This is to face the fear head on. When that phone rings, and you put the volume up all the way, when that phone rings, you answer it and you face it head on. This is hard for a lot of people. This is hard, but this is actually a way to overcome it quicker. It's like people who have trouble public speaking, or it's that initial fear, but once they do it, they realize it's not as scary as it seems. See, a lot of times our brain projects stuff, makes it more scary than it actually is. And we procrastinate and we avoid and we do all these things to not do it. But once we do it, then something shifts in us. Something shifts. So you can face it head on. And if either of those two techniques don't work, passive, being more passive through like visualization techniques or hypnosis, or through facing it head on, if neither of those work, then it's time to go back to here, to these problem thoughts, feelings, behaviors, triggers, all that stuff. Because what that means is you probably didn't really get the right feeling or thought. It's probably not what you're actually thinking. It might be still up on the surface. You still have to peel some layers off the onion, get to the root. You're not quite at the root. So a lot of times it's coming back and reanalyzing what you're actually feeling. A lot of times we don't know what we're actually feeling. Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling scared, fearful? Am I feeling embarrassed? Like, what am I actually fearing? I don't know. What are my actual triggers? Is it talking on the phone? No, it's not talking on the phone. It's more hearing the phone ring, right? Or it's more, I don't know, making a phone call, right? So these are some ways that can help you overcome your phone anxiety. I'm still working on it myself, so it's a really weird thing, but I know it stems back from something. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know if it was in the comments. If you have this fear, let me know. And let me know what kind of things you have done to try to identify, where it comes from and what kind of things you've used, if you have used, to try to overcome it if you have. And if you haven't, then maybe this will help you a little bit. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great day. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. I put out a video every single morning. I appreciate you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.